All right, I have an absolutely wild breaking news story for you all. We just got leaked text messages from a young Republican group chat, a group chat devoted towards strategy on the young Republican side. But in this group chat, we now have messages of them praising Hitler, using insane racial epithets, and just racial slurs, racial innuendos, all of these different things in one group chat. I want to run you through this in perhaps the most in-depth way yet, because I am a young dude. I'm not a young dude that hangs in these exact circles, but I grew up in Northwest Indiana in a red state, and I've seen some of my friends either get radicalized or fall down these rabbit holes or post like pro-Trump stuff over the past few years when I know that they didn't believe that in high school. So I do have some internal experience in how young men intersect with algorithms on a day-to-day basis and get pulled down these pipelines. And it's not even just algorithms. I'm not going to blame it on that. Dudes have had these problems for a while, but I think it is fair to say there has been a resurgence in the amount of open racialization or racism that we see in politics. And I would argue that that open, just disdain for the other side was caused by Donald Trump's entry into American politics. This article reads, quote, "I love Hitler. Leaked messages expose young Republicans' racist chat." And just think about this. All of these young Republicans spent their most formative years watching the President of the United States over and over and over again say that, first of all, Obama wasn't born in America. He has a fake birth certificate, is what Trump was claiming for years. And then he would say that Hillary Clinton needs to be locked up and that she committed all of these crimes, but there was no evidence whatsoever. And then he would come up with nicknames for the other side, post AI memes nowadays. So when young people are growing up and seeing the president act this way, this isn't me excusing it, I'm just explaining that is how it seeps downstream into the minds of a bunch of people. Like, the question is, if Marco Rubio were currently the president, or if Mitt Romney were currently the president, for example, would we still have this same level of radicalization? And I don't think so. But let's break down this article. It says, thousands of private messages reveal young GOP leaders joking about gas chambers, slavery, and rape. And just from here on out, a trigger warning, there's a lot of crazy texts in here. And this goes beyond any quote-unquote dark humor. Here's the thing. One of my favorite shows of all time, and feel free to make fun of me, one of my favorite shows of all time is Family Guy. I love Seth MacFarlane, who is a liberal writer, because he actually engages in a sort of dark humor that I find to be really cathartic. Like, it's dark humor that's aimed at making fun of Republicans usually. Like, do you see how dumb these people are for believing this stuff? That's usually what Family Guy is. Now, the problem is, when I watch Family Guy with some of my old MAGA friends, like when I was in high school and we would watch Family Guy together, they would be laughing at these jokes in a different way. So Family Guy would have some sort of edgy joke, and I would be like, wow, no one actually believes that, right? And my friend over there would be laughing like, I actually believe what's being said right now. It's the same thing with Dave Chappelle. I'm pretty sure he realized for a while he was getting the wrong audience. The point is, there is a difference between quote-unquote dark humor and being an actual Nazi, fascist, Hitler apologist, Hitler lover, according to this text right here. It says, I love Hitler. Someone even said in this text, if we ever had a leak of this chat, we would be cooked. For real? For real. Well, they are cooked because we can see an insight, an inside into how they operate. These are not jokes. This is not dark humor. Do not let them play that off. The reason why I just said that Family Guy example is to show you this is a new level. These people actually believe this, and they are saying this behind the scenes. So let's run through this. Then I'm going to bring in policy advisor Micah Irfan so you can hear from another young dude just how this is all intersecting and how we can combat this. Make sure you're subscribed to the Adam Mockler feed if you enjoy these videos. Leaders of young Republican groups throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked, but they kept typing anyway. They referred to black people as monkeys and, quote, the watermelon people, and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They talked about raping their enemies and driving them to suicide, and lauded Republicans who they believed support slavery. William Hendricks, the Kansas Young Republicans vice chair, used the words, the N slur, variations of the racial slur, more than a dozen times in the chats. Bobby Walker, the vice chair of the New York State Young Republicans at the time, referred to rape as, quote, epic. Peter Gionta, who at the time was the chair of the same organization, the New York State Young Republicans, wrote in a message sent in June that, quote, everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber. Gunta was referring to an upcoming vote on whether he should become the chair of the Young Republicans National Federation. So when Donald Trump, just to bring this back, when Donald Trump is out there spreading election fraud lies in 2020 and saying that people who disagree with him are the enemy of the country, the enemy from within, he's using this insane rhetoric. And then you see someone who's, 18, 19 years old, a young Republican in his formative years, watching Trump use that type of rhetoric, then of course they are going to be like, hey, I'm going to model off of Trump and use extremist, crazy rhetoric. Quote, I'm going to create some of the greatest physiological torture methods known to man. We only want true believers, he continued. Two of the members of the chat responded. These are the texts. Everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber, and everyone that endorsed but then votes for us is going to the gas chamber. Someone said, when do we start bullying, dude? And then someone said, we have a solid 3 people who can have them want to jump. They're talking about committing suicide. This says, if they vote for us, why would they be gassed? Someone says, when do we bring that side out? Someone said, I'm going to create some of the greatest physiological torture methods known to man. We only want true believers. Then someone said, how can we fix the showers? Gas chambers don't fit the Hitler aesthetic. And this got a heart and a laugh. I'm ready to watch people burn now. Jesus Christ. We got to pretend that we like them. Quote, hey, come on in, take a nice shower and relax. Boom. They're dead. This is like actual Hitler. This is actual Hitler stuff. Honestly, like the type of edgy jokes that my friends and I make, or even in high school, my friends and I made that my mom would get mad at, would be me saying things inappropriate, like, quote, I want to kill myself. Like that's what we would say, kind of tongue in cheek. If you've been around young people, it's sort of like edgy humor. It's like, oh my God, this is going to make me kill myself. It's sort of a thing that young people say, right? But that is not this. This is actual Hitler fanaticism. They are obsessed with the way that Hitler operates, and they are trying to model it. Quote, can we fix the chambers? Or fix the showers? Gas chambers don't fit the Hitler aesthetic, said Joe Malino, who previously identified himself as the general counsel for the New York State Young Republicans. Just so you guys know, Micah Irfan, my policy advisor, who I'm about to bring in, we are going to go through and find all of the Republican politicians these people have been seen with, have aligned with, have been endorsed by, and we're going to make sure these Republican politicians are asked about these kids. Quote, I'm ready to watch people burn now. Annie K. Kati, New York's National Committee member, said, the exchange is part of a trove of Telegram chats obtained by Politico and spanning more than 7 months of messages among young Republican leaders in New York, Kansas, Arizona, and Vermont. The chat offers an unfiltered look at how a new generation of GOP activists talk when they think no one is listening. And from all of my knowledge, there's no group chat like this of young Democratic leaders. We are way behind them on organization. Since Politico began making inquiries, one member of the group chat is no longer employed at their job, and another's job offer was rescinded. Prominent New York Republicans, including Representative Elise Stefanik and Senator Minority Leader Rob Ortt, have denounced the chat. And festering resentments among young Republicans have now turned into public recriminations, including allegations of character assassination and extortion. A liberating atmosphere. The 2,900 pages of chat shared among a dozen millennial and Gen Z Republicans between early January and mid-August chronicle their campaign to seize control of the National Young Republican Organization on a hardline pro-Donald Trump platform. Many of the chat members already work inside government or party politics, and one serves as a state senator. I mean, this is all downstream, not only from Trump, but people like Nick Fuentes are infecting the minds of people our age, my age, and the age of Micah. And we are doing everything we can every day to combat that, whether it's going on CNN, whether it's making these videos, whether it's creating a debate show, which we are doing right now. I have this vision to create a debate show, which we have filmed the first 2 episodes of, and then we are going to clip that up in such a short form, viral way that our talking points, our morals will now be reaching the broader generation. Because just to be candid, right-wingers have been dominating this online algorithm Charlie Kirk space for a while where they make a bunch of clips. And what we're doing here is very, very important because we're combating that, but our side is still behind in a few regards. Okay, together, the messages reveal a culture where racist, anti-Semitic, and violent rhetoric circulate freely, and where the Trump-era loosening of political norms has made such talk feel less taboo among those positioning themselves as the party's next leaders. Quote, the more political atmosphere is open and liberating, like it has been with the emergence of Trump and a more right-wing GOP even before him. The dynamic of easy racism and casual cruelty played out in often dark, vivid fashion inside the chats, where campaign talk and party gossip blurred into streams of slurs and violent fantasies. The group chat members spoke freely about the pressure to kowtow Trump to avoid being called a rhino, the love of Nazis within their party's right wing, and the president's alleged work to suppress documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. Quote, Trump's too busy burning the Epstein files, Alex Dwyer, chair of the Kansas Young Republicans, wrote in one instance. Dwyer and Kekati declined to comment. Malino and Hendricks did not return requests for comment. A big problem is, this might not even end their careers. I mean, will this end their career in like mainstream circles of Fox News right now? Yeah, probably. They're not going to be allowed in those spaces, but they're creating their own movement, their own force of young Republicans, people like Nick Fuentes, and they don't seem like they're going to be stopped soon, just to be real. Gionta claimed the release of the chat is part of a, quote, highly coordinated year-long character assassination led by Gavin Wax and the New York City Young Republicans Club. Okay, so they really do like Trump's tactics. They really do like Trump's tactics. Quote, these logs were sourced by way of extortion and provided to Politico by the very same people conspiring against me, he said. So they're not even denying that they said this. They're not even denying that this is what they said. Gionta then apologized. He said, quote, I am so sorry to those offended by the insensitive and inexcusable language found within the more than 28,000 messages of a private group chat I created during my campaign to lead the Young Republicans. He said, while I take complete responsibility, I have had no way of verifying their accuracy and am deeply concerned that the message logs in question may have been deceptively doctored. Okay, we're not believing any of this, dude. You said sorry. You said that they were the messages. Multiple people seem to have confirmed this. At least one person in the Telegram chat works in the Trump administration, Michael Bartels, who according to his LinkedIn account, serves as a senior advisor in the Office of the General Counsel within the U.S. Small Business Administration. Bartels did not have much to say in the chat, but he didn't offer any pushback against the offensive rhetoric in it either. He declined to comment. A notarized affidavit signed by Bartels and obtained by Politico also sheds light on the intra-party rivalry that led this war room. Okay, listen to this. Mixed into formal conversations about whipping votes, social media strategy, and logistics, the members of the chat slung around an array of slurs, which Politico is republishing to show people how they speak. Epithets like the F slur towards gay people, or retarded, which is a slur towards people, it's an old term, obviously, and the N-word appeared more than 251 times. In one instance, Walker, who at the time was a staffer for Ort, talked about how a mutual friend of some in the chat, quote, dated this very obese Indian woman for a period of time. Gionta responded that the woman was not Indian. Quote, she just didn't bathe often, Samuel Douglas said. Just pure racism. In a separate conversation, Gionta shared that his flight to Charleston landed safely. Then he offered some advice to his fellow Young Republicans. Quote, if your pilot is a she, and she looks 10 shades darker than someone from Sicily, just end it there. Scream the no-no word, Gionta wrote. These people are just, oh God. I hate that these cowards are sitting on the flight. He's probably sitting there with his hands crossed, acting like, you know, he's a cool guy. He's okay with everyone. He's a nice, loving guy. But behind the scenes, he's talking shit about people in a racist way. Just so annoying. In a statement, Ort called for members of the chat to resign. Quote, I was shocked and disgusted to learn about the racist, anti-Semitic, and misogynistic comments coming out of here. And listen, the private rhetoric isn't happening in a vacuum, this says. It comes amid a widespread coarsening of the broader political discourse, and an incendiary and racially offensive tropes from the right become increasingly common. Last month, Trump posted an AI video that showed Hakeem Jeffries in a sombrero beside Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. In his 2024 campaign, Trump spread false reports of Haitian migrants eating pets, and at one of his rallies welcomed comedian Tony Hinchcliffe, who joked about Puerto Rico being a floating island of garbage. I think it goes way beyond that. It's not just about, you know, the floating island of garbage. Now, when he said the black people carving watermelons joke, pure racism, pure racism. But I think it's bigger than just Tony Hinchcliffe giving a speech a few months back. It can be traced back to Donald Trump entering U.S. politics in a divisive, racist way, claiming that Obama wasn't even born here. At this point, I want to bring in another young dude, policy advisor for Mockler Media, Micah Irfan. He had some very unique takes and frameworks on this, so let's break this down together. Micah, what's your read on this entire situation? I mean, we're both young dudes who are liberal, but we've seen this type of shift happen in our Republican counterparts on the other side.
Right. I'm appalled at him, but I'm also not surprised. We've witnessed the radicalization of young men under this Republican Party, in part because of the extreme rhetoric coming from the president and his close allies like Stephen Miller. You remember just recently, the president called the Democratic Party gnats that needed to be crushed. Stephen Miller has said that the Democratic Party is a domestic extremist organization. They are pushing a radical ideology that now Republicans that are young, that are all across the coalition, are mimicking, and it's really frightening to see.
It's incredibly frightening, and it's coming in a top-down way. I was saying this throughout the video, but young men in their most formative years. I mean, imagine being 14 years old and you see Donald Trump talking about Obama's birth certificate being fake. And then you're 17 years old and he's chanting, "Lock her up." And then you're 19 years old and you get an AI meme. Maybe my timeline's a little bit off, but throughout all of this, you're like, holy shit, the president of the United States is modeling a radical type of rhetoric. Stephen Miller also uses this. I also think it's worth pointing out the algorithmic effects and the effects of people like Nick Fuentes who take advantage of those algorithms to infect the brains of young people. What do you think?
I mean, we know that platforms like X, which we spend some time on, or Twitter, as we like to call it, are swarmed with right-wing extremists who violate the terms of services 24/7, and Elon refuses to ban them. He actually signal boosts them with his platform, sharing tweets from accounts that openly support Hitler and Nazism. And so we have the most powerful people in the Republican Party not only echoing, but signal boosting open Nazis, and then they want to absolve themselves from responsibility for the radicalization of young people. And also it is the algorithms as well. The algorithms turn us against each other. It rewards extremist, divisive rhetoric. And so what do you expect whenever you submerge young people in extreme rhetoric and a content algorithm that rewards them for being divisive, that rewards them for saying nasty things and punishes them for being kind, for being decent, for being good? Well, you get extremists, and that's what we're seeing all across the Republican Party.
Your point about signal boosting and Elon Musk doing it relentlessly, I think was very, very key, because when it comes to Elon Musk, we talk about this all the time. He has, 200, 300 million Twitter followers. He posts relentlessly all day, carpet bombing all of our feeds with lie after lie after lie. And to the people in the audience who don't know what signal boosting is, it's to share or repost somebody else's post, which gives it an increased reach, which boosts its signal essentially. And usually it's without any sort of pushback from the person reposting it. So Elon Musk will be relentlessly over and over and over boosting accounts that are saying things like, quote, like the West is going to be invaded by immigrants. And you're like, okay, that seems a little bit racist, maybe a little bit alarmist. And then you click on that person's account and then it'll be like Hitler lover 666. And you're like, okay, Elon, why are you retweeting these people? Maybe that's a bit of an extreme example, but it's not. Elon does this shit like
it's really not. I mean, like, he has retweeted posts of people saying the white race is being replaced. White people are under attack everywhere. And then, like, if you do click on the profile, they'll have a picture of Hitler saying, we need this guy again. Seriously. And he knows what he's doing. Everybody knows what he's doing. He just restored the accounts of two far-right groypers who dox people, trying to get use violent threats to silence liberals. He just restored those accounts personally because he likes their content. This is where we are. And so whenever people say that we're extreme and our rhetoric is too divisive and crazy, whenever we say the Republican Party is increasingly a fascist party, those people are being intellectually dishonest, or they're not paying attention. And I honestly can't tell which is worse.
I love it. They're like, don't you dare call us fascists. If you call us fascists, we might have no choice but to gas you all in chambers because we all love Hitler. Like, literally, that's what they were saying in those
Yeah,
messages.
it's true.
But you better not call us fascists.
Right. And you know, right now, I'm in the state of Virginia. We have been bombarded with ads about Jay Jones's text messages where he said some edgy, inappropriate things about Republican officials that he apologized for. That
And you
he
shouldn't
took
say
back.
that stuff.
Every single Democrat has condemned it, and they said that he shouldn't have said that, and that's good, right? We shouldn't say crazy things even in private text messages. But these same people that have been attacking him for this are not calling out the extreme rhetoric that comes from their side every single day. The double standard is palpable, and it's really, frankly, upsetting.
It's not even that they don't call it out, they excuse it when Trump does it. Trump will post AI videos of Obama being arrested and they say that it's just a joke. I mean, I don't want to invoke this already, but my Scott Jennings debate last night, these people will sit there and will run defense while Donald Trump weaponizes our institutions, calls people names, makes, conspiracy theories about our highest leaders and says they need to be arrested over and over and over. And people on TV will sit there and smugly be like, he's just messing around or whatever, like smiling into the camera. And young Republicans are just a more extreme version of this. I think that the Republican Party, as we know it, the people in the Republican Party, such as Marco Rubio, even Donald Trump and his types, they're about to be astounded at what they've created on the lower rungs of the party. Like, I don't think they understand fully the level of Nazism that is being embraced by the youth. Now, like Trump might not have a problem with it or whatever. I just don't think he understands how bad it's gotten. I don't think Marco Rubio has a clue. And you see this when that new Charlie Kirk guy, like the new Charlie Kirk, Brylan Hollyhand, I don't know if anyone in the audience has been following that story. We covered a little bit. He went from campus to campus trying to do a Charlie Kirk type tour. And he kept having people come up to him and say, why are you pro-immigration at all? We shouldn't have a melting pot. We should remove immigration entirely, which kind of indicates the right-wing shift that we've seen, right?
Right. I mean, not only are people advocating to end all legal immigration, my God, that's like the radical view from a year ago. Now we're at re-immigration, which is deport every single person who is an immigrant and the descendants. So it's kind of arbitrary where you draw the line. A lot of these people are immigrants themselves. It's usually the generation of immigrants that came after the generation that are their ancestors. Very convenient how that always works. But it's going to get more and more and more extreme until we address the fundamental social media problem that we have, where there's just a slew of right-wing insanity being spread 24/7 and signal boosted. And also the fact that that place is given a harbor and a home in the Republican Party. Trump became the nominee of the Republican Party by speaking to the worst demons of Republicans, always signaling to the extremes, pushing the outer bounds. The Republican Party needs a candidate and a leader who actually has moral clarity and guidance and says, no, we don't support evil. We don't support being more and more extreme arbitrarily. I don't think that's going to be coming anytime soon, but that's what our country needs.
Thank you, Micah. To everyone watching, I urge you to go in the top link in the description and subscribe to Micah Irfan's channel. He has a YouTube channel. We'll link his Twitter. We'll link everything. He is a big part of Mockler Media, allowing us to push forward every single day. So thank you, Micah, and thank you to you all.
Thanks, guys.